was we don't have just one congressman now, we have two. We're still one county, but we will have double representation for Fayette County in Washington. And that is vital. That's important. And I consider ourselves lucky. And tonight we have one of our congressional representatives here, just walked in, and we'd like to give the microphone to Representative Turner. Welcome to Fayette County.
Well, good evening. Well, it's great to hear the description of that now you will have two members of Congress, because that really is part of the benefit of the current districts that we have, in that you will have twice the representation. Now, I wanted you to know what my prior district was. I had 75% of Montgomery County, half of Warren County, and all of Clinton and Highland counties. And I can tell you, having shared two counties, both Montgomery and Warren, that it really does provide you with twice the representation, because these lines of redistricting are really just imaginary lines. We are all one team on the federal side, and you will have everybody working together. As we look to issues for Fayette County, you will have both members of Congress actively advocating for the issues of your leadership and your local elected leadership. Now, Montgomery County, I had the honor of sharing with Speaker John Boehner. And Warren County, I shared with Gene Schmidt, and then prior to that, with Rob Portman. Rob Portman served in the seat when I was first elected. I want to tell you just a little bit about my background and experience. I served as the mayor for the city of Dayton for 2 terms, 8 years, prior to being elected to Congress. The city of Dayton had not balanced its budget in 5 years and was facing an $80 million budget deficit. I pulled our business community together. We got 64 volunteers from the community to come in and top to bottom at the city. We took the city apart and put it back together again, and we balanced the budget in 9 months. We balanced the budget every year that I was mayor. We left more money in the bank than when I got there. We built a brand new baseball stadium, a brand new performing arts center, and a brand new riverscape park, including revitalizing our neighborhoods. All without raising taxes and making certain that the city of Dayton made its commitment to increasing police. We put 54 additional police on the streets, reducing police response time by 40%, so people felt safe again in their homes, understanding that if criminals knew that police were going to be there, that they would not be in those neighborhoods. I used the Giuliani model of going into our neighborhoods and closing down adult theaters and trying to revitalize our neighborhoods. The city of Dayton is 9% Republican. I'm going to say that again, in case someone misunderstood what I said. The city of Dayton is 9% Republican. And when Giuliani talks about New York City being 25% Republican, I was jealous. It was 25%. Certainly would have been a lot easier than 9% Republican. But I modeled what I did as mayor off of what Rudy Giuliani did in New York, and we had a revitalization of the city. And now when I went to Congress, as I told you, my neighbors, I was wrapped around by John Boehner and Rob Portman, and I followed their lead, and also sought a seat on the Armed Services Committee. Many of you are familiar with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is the single site, this is the Senator's Rick nodding his head, which is the single largest site employer in the state of Ohio. Many people don't realize the scope of the employment at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. There are 27,000 people that work inside the fence at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and 20,000 people that work outside the fence. 47,000 people work directly for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I'm very proud to say that during my time that I've been working on the Armed Services Committee, that base has grown, largest expansion since World War II. But even more important than that, it's been integral to the issue of our national security, and that has been my main issue in Congress. If you go to my website, MikeTurner.com, or turner.house.gov, if you just Google Mike Turner, both of them will come up very easily. You'll see both my record in national security, but also my record as a fiscal conservative that comes from my time as being a mayor. My issues for national security, I currently chair the subcommittee that has responsibility for our nuclear weapons, missile defense, missiles, space, and military intel. My wife describes that as 5 great reasons not to sleep at night. But they're really important issues that this president has cut and has absolutely put our nation at risk. I've been an advocate opposing the Obama administration's effort to reduce our nuclear arsenal, to reduce our missile defense, of course pointing out very strongly when the President claimed to have a secret deal with the Russians, that he would have more flexibility when the election was over. And I most recently, on the fiscal side, voted against raising the budget raising the debt limit because of the process of sequestration and the 12-person committee that I believed was not going to be successful. And even though the proposal was that cuts over a 10-year period would be made, I believe that we needed cuts now, that we need to absolutely offset the trillion-dollar deficits. We cannot sustain trillion-dollar deficits. The markets won't let us, the electorate won't let us. It's a stone that's dragging our economy and preventing us from creating jobs. It's something that we're passing on to our kids and our grandkids, and certainly even just the debt service alone is going to cripple our nation. This president has a budget that has trillion-dollar deficits for the next 4 years, taking us to $20 trillion in debt. This absolutely would cripple our nation. We have to oppose it. I know that you are all working diligently to make certain that Mitt Romney is elected president, and I wanted to personally come to give you just that little bit more of a push, because I can tell you that you coming from a swing county, Montgomery County, you can feel the tide in Ohio is turning. The excitement is there for the Republican team. The excitement is there for Mitt Romney and for Paul Ryan. I know Paul Ryan very well. Paul Ryan knows the budget in and out. He knows the economy. I think he did a great job in the debate showing his prowess in foreign policy. We have a great team, and people, I believe, in this state were already to the point where they did not want President Obama, but they wanted to make sure they had a viable alternative. I think Mitt Romney in the debates showed he was that viable alternative. I think he's got a strong record that shows that he can create jobs, that he will tackle this deficit. We won't have trillion-dollar deficits. We won't have to try to cut our military. We will be able to look to the national security of our nation as our #1 priority before the Budget Act falls, to rein in spending and get this economy moving again. My congressional district, as it sits, was drawn as a 50-50 district. In the last race, in the last presidential race, it went 49.3 McCain, 49.3 Obama. So it is really important that you get out the vote, and that you get out the vote for those people who are going to vote for Mitt Romney, and that we win this district, even though it was not won 4 years ago for the Republican candidate, because that makes a difference all up and down the line. But I can tell you that as that tide is turning, your efforts to get out the vote, making certain every one of your neighbors vote, making sure that everybody gets the pitch, that everybody understands that this is a pivotal election, that Obamacare as an effect on our health care, on our doctor-patient relationship, and our budget is implemented primarily after this election for a reason, because this president doesn't want you to know what's coming. He doesn't want you to know what he already has in place. We need to tell that story. We need to remind people. We need to remind people what's coming so that we can put Mitt Romney in office, repeal Obamacare, balance his budget, get jobs moving again, and preserve our national security. I want to thank you for everything you do for Republicans. I want to ask you for your vote and for your support. And I look forward to being one of your 2 members of Congress representing Fayette County. I think you have great elected leadership here. I look forward to being part of your team on the federal side. And please, get out there, get out the vote, and let your neighbors and friends know. Thank you very much for having me.